Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. The night my marriage ended started with a reservation Gloria made herself. It was a Friday. I had just wrapped a 14-hour day at a construction site outside the city. I still showed up on time, showered, clean shirt, good watch, steady mind. That was the kind of man I was. If I said I'd be somewhere, I was there. The restaurant sat on the riverfront downtown. Low lights, expensive wine. The kind of place Gloria liked posting online. When I walked in, she was already seated. And nervous. Not sad, not guilty. Nervous. That told me everything before she even opened her mouth. "You're late," she said. "I texted you, traffic." She nodded quickly and grabbed her wine glass with both hands. Gloria only did that when she was rehearsing something in her head. I sat down slowly. "What's going on? Can we not do this aggressively tonight?" I leaned back in the chair. "You haven't even started talking yet." The waiter came. Gloria barely looked at the menu. I ordered a steak and water. She ordered another glass of wine before the first one was even finished. Then she finally said it. "I met someone." No dramatic pause. No tears. Just that. I looked at her for a few seconds. "Who?" "His name is Damian Cole. He works with one of our real estate partners." "And?" She exhaled carefully. "We connected." I almost laughed at the wording. "Connected," I repeated. "That's what we're calling it now?" Her jaw tightened. "Don't do that." "Do what?" "Turn this into a fight immediately." I stared directly at her. "You just told your husband another man has your attention. What exactly did you expect this conversation to sound like?" She looked down at the table. Nothing physical happened. Yet, her eyes snapped back up. That one word hit her harder than I expected. She tried to recover quickly. I need space to figure things out." I nodded once. "Space to do what, exactly?" She hesitated. That hesitation told me more than the confession. "I don't know," she said quietly. "I need time around him to understand what I'm feeling." There it was. Not confusion. Permission. I leaned forward slightly. "So, let me make sure I understand this correctly. You want to stay married to me while you explore another man. You're twisting it." "No, I'm simplifying it." People around us were laughing, glasses clinking, music playing softly overhead. Meanwhile, my wife was sitting across from me asking for room to emotionally cheat in peace. Then she said the sentence that finished it. "You've been distant for months, Eric. Damien makes me feel alive again." I looked at her for a long moment. Then I reached into my jacket, pulled out my wallet, and placed enough cash on the table to cover dinner. Gloria blinked. "What are you doing?" I stood up. "You don't ask your husband for space so you can test another man," I said calmly. "You ask for a divorce. Eric, you already made your choice." Then I walked out and left her sitting there alone. I didn't drive around thinking about it. I didn't call friends to vent. And I sure as hell didn't sit in my car crying over a woman asking permission to shop for my replacement. I went straight home. The apartment was quiet when I walked in. Floor-to-ceiling windows, downtown skyline. Place was in both our names, but I paid most of the bills. That stopped mattering the second Gloria brought another man into the marriage. I grabbed a small bag and packed enough clothes for 3 days. Then I called Jason Miller. Jason was an old friend from the gym, former Marine, owned a few rental properties downtown. He answered on the second ring. "What happened?" "You got anything available immediately?" A short pause. "One-bedroom condo, furnished. Why?" "I'll take it." "You even want to see it first?" "No." That was the entire conversation. By midnight, I had transferred the deposit. The next morning, I was up at 6. Gym, coffee, clear head. Then I started separating everything. Joint savings, utilities, automatic payments, lease obligations, not emotional work, administrative work. At 10 in the morning, I hired movers for the next day. At noon, Gloria finally came home. The second she walked through the door, she froze. 3 packed boxes sat near the hallway. My watch collection was gone from the dresser. The framed photo from our honeymoon was face down on the counter. "What is this?" she asked carefully. "I'm moving out tomorrow." Her expression changed instantly. "You're serious?" I kept folding shirts into a box. "Very. You're acting insane right now." I looked up at her. "No, I'm responding." She dropped her purse onto the couch. "So that's it? 8 years and you just walk away? You asked for space to explore another man. I asked for honesty. And I'm giving you consequences. That landed hard. She crossed her arms. You're proving exactly why I felt disconnected from you. Everything with you is cold. Everything is business. No, I said evenly. Business would have been cheating first and keeping my options open. Her face hardened. That's not fair. What part isn't fair? The part where you wanted me waiting at home while you figured out whether Damien was better? I never said that. You didn't have to. Silence filled the apartment. For the first time since the restaurant, I saw panic underneath her anger. Not because she loved me suddenly, because she realized I was actually leaving. You're overreacting, she said quieter now. We could still work through this. I sealed another box shut with tape. Gloria, a woman who wants to save her marriage doesn't ask for time alone with another man. She opened her mouth but had nothing ready this time. The next morning, the movers arrived at 8 sharp, and that was the moment it finally became real for her. The movers worked fast. 2 guys, no small talk, no questions. By 8:30, they already had half my things loaded into the truck. I stood near the kitchen signing paperwork while Gloria watched from the hallway in sweatpants and no makeup, arms folded tight across her chest. You really planned all this overnight, she said. I glanced at her calmly. You planned your part longer. That shut her up for a second. One of the movers carried out the black leather chair from my office. Gloria stared at the empty space it left behind like she still expected me to stop everything and change my mind. Instead, I handed the guy another box. By 10, the apartment barely looked like mine anymore. Gloria followed me into the kitchen. So what now? I moved downtown. You figure out what you want. That's not what I meant. I know. She leaned against the counter and lowered her voice. You're really throwing away our marriage without even trying. I laughed once, short, sharp. You asked for another man while sitting across from your husband at dinner. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. Her eyes narrowed. You know what your problem is, Eric? You think being calm makes you right. No, I said. I think respecting myself makes me right. That hit harder than yelling would have. She looked away first. Then came the line I knew was coming. If you actually cared about me, you would have fought for us. I stepped closer, not aggressive, just direct. Fighting for your marriage and competing for your wife are 2 different things. Don't confuse them. For a second, neither of us spoke. Then her phone buzzed on the counter. Damien. His name lit up the screen clear as day. Gloria grabbed the phone too quickly, but it was already too late. I just looked at her. There it is. Her face flushed immediately. It's not what you think. Don't insult my intelligence. I was going to tell him I needed space. I nodded slowly. Interesting timing. She looked angry now because she was cornered. You're acting like you're perfect. No, I said. I'm acting like a man whose wife crossed a line. The apartment fell quiet again, except for tape ripping from another box in the living room. At 11:30, the movers carried out the final load. I picked up my keys from the counter. Gloria's voice cracked slightly. So what? This is permanent? I looked directly at her. You ended the marriage the second you invited another man into it. I'm just refusing to stand there while you test the waters. Then I walked toward the door. Eric, she called behind me. I stopped but didn't turn around. You really won't even try? Finally, I looked back at her one last time. I was trying the whole time, Gloria. You just got bored with stability. Then I walked out, and this time she didn't follow me. The condo Jason rented me sat 12 floors above the city. Bare walls, minimal furniture, no history inside it. Exactly what I needed. I had the place fully set up within 2 days. Bed assembled, clothes organized, workstation ready, gym bag near the door, no half-open boxes sitting around collecting emotion. I kept moving. That was the difference. Most men freeze after something like this. They stop eating, stop sleeping, start stalking social media looking for pain they already know is there. I didn't. Monday morning, I was back on site running meetings like normal. By Wednesday, Gloria finally started calling nonstop. I ignored the first 3, answered the 4th. What? I said calmly. Her tone came in hot immediately. You seriously blocked me on Instagram? Yes. That's childish. No. Childish is asking your husband for freedom to date another man. You keep twisting this into something ugly. It already was ugly. Silence. Then she changed tactics. I miss talking to you. That's funny timing. Can you stop doing that? Stop talking to me like I'm some enemy. I leaned back in my office chair. You introduced another man into our marriage. What exactly did you expect? She exhaled sharply. You know what? Damien listens to me without making me feel judged. There it was again. Damien. Still in the picture. I almost ended the call right there. Instead, I said, then go talk to Damien, and hung up. That weekend, Jason dragged me to a rooftop lounge downtown after the gym. You need one night outside that condo, he said. We were halfway through a conversation near the bar when Jason suddenly looked past me. Well, he muttered, that's awkward. I turned. Gloria stood near the elevator in a black dress with Damien Cole beside her. Tall guy, designer jacket, too much confidence in his face. Gloria froze when she saw me. Damien didn't. He walked forward first with his hand halfway extended. Eric, right? I looked at the hand but didn't shake it. Damien. He slowly lowered his arm. Gloria looked nervous now. I didn't know you'd be here. It's a public building. Damien smiled like he thought this was some mature modern situation. Look, man, nobody wanted things to happen this way. That sentence almost made me laugh. I stared directly at him. You usually chase married women, or was my wife a special occasion? The smile disappeared from his face immediately. Gloria stepped in quickly. Eric, stop. No, I said calmly. He wanted to stand here like we're all friends. Let him answer. Damien straightened slightly. Gloria told me things between you two were basically dead already. I looked at Gloria. She looked away. That told me everything. I nodded once. Got it. Then I looked back at him. She's all yours. And I walked past both of them toward the elevator. Behind me, I heard Gloria call my name once. I never turned around. 3 weeks later, Gloria showed up outside my office. Not planned, not invited. I had just finished a meeting with a client when I saw her leaning against the hood of my truck in the parking garage, sunglasses on, arms crossed, trying to look composed. She failed. I walked toward her slowly. This better be important. She took the sunglasses off. Her eyes looked tired. We need to talk. We already did. No, she said quickly. You talked. Then you disappeared. I unlocked the truck but didn't open the door. What do you want, Gloria? She hesitated for the first time since all this started. That night, at the rooftop, she looked down briefly. Things with Damien aren't what I thought. I stayed quiet. He's inconsistent, she admitted. Half the time he disappears. The other half, he acts like commitment is some kind of disease. I almost smiled at that. And you just realized this? She ignored the comment. I made a mistake. No, I said calmly. You made a decision. Her jaw tightened immediately. Why do you talk like everything is black and white? Because some things are. A couple walked through the garage behind us. Gloria waited until they passed. I thought you'd fight harder for me. There it was, the truth. Not love, expectation. I looked directly at her. You thought I'd sit still while you explored another man. That's not fair. It's accurate. Her voice cracked slightly. I didn't think you'd actually leave. I nodded once. That's the problem. She stared at me quietly for a few seconds before stepping closer. We can still fix this. I laughed softly under my breath. Gloria, you introduced another man into our marriage, lied to him about us, then expected me to stay emotionally available while you tested your options. I was confused. No, you were curious. That one hit hard. I saw it in her face instantly. Then she tried the emotional angle. 8 years together has to mean something to you. It did, I said. That's why I left the second you disrespected it. She looked frustrated now, almost angry. You know what your problem is? You never bend. You always have to be the strong one. I stepped closer so she'd hear me clearly. Strength is leaving when someone stops valuing you. Weakness is begging them to reconsider. She went silent. I opened the truck door. Then she asked the question she'd been avoiding. So, what now? I looked at her for a long moment before answering. Now, I file for divorce. Her face changed instantly. For the first time since this started, Gloria looked scared. Real scared. And I drove away before she could say another word. I filed the following Monday. No threats, no dramatic speeches, just paperwork. My attorney's office sat on the 23rd floor downtown. Clean glass walls, quiet lobby, efficient people. I liked that. The lawyer reviewed everything in under an hour. No kids? He asked. No. Shared property? Apartment lease and furniture. That's it. He nodded. This should move fast. Good. That same week, Gloria started escalating. First came the long emails. Not angry at first, emotional. She wrote about memories, vacations, late-night drives, the apartment we picked together. She said people make mistakes, said marriage was supposed to survive hard seasons. I read every message once, never answered. Then the calls started from unknown numbers. Blocked. Then she showed up at my condo building one night. The concierge called my phone. "There's a woman downstairs asking for you." "Name?" "Gloria." I looked out toward the city lights for a second. "Tell her I'm not coming down." The concierge hesitated. "Sir, she's pretty emotional." "I understand." A short pause. "Should I ask her to leave?" "Yes." I hung up and stayed upstairs. She left 20 minutes later. A week after that, I heard Damien was gone completely. Not from Gloria, from Natalie Brooks, one of Gloria's closest friends. Natalie ran into me at a coffee shop near my office. She looked uncomfortable, even approaching me. "She's a mess," Natalie admitted carefully. I sipped my coffee. "That tends to happen when reality arrives." "She really thought you'd calm down eventually." I looked at her directly. "That's because Gloria confused patience with weakness." Natalie hesitated before speaking again. "For what it's worth, Damien wasn't serious about her." "I know." "You do?" "Men like him rarely are." That conversation stayed in my head longer than I expected. Not because I missed Gloria, because it confirmed something important. She didn't leave me for a better man. She risked her marriage for excitement, and excitement always has an expiration date. 2 months later, something else happened. My company offered me a senior project management position in Charlotte. Bigger projects, bigger money, company truck, massive raise. The regional director called me personally. "We need your answer by Friday." "You'll have it tomorrow," I told him. That night, I sat alone in the condo looking over the city lights. Gloria had spent months accusing me of being too focused on building a future. Now that future was sitting directly in front of me, and she wasn't part of it anymore. The next morning, I accepted the offer. By afternoon, I signed a lease in Charlotte, and that same evening Gloria sent one final email, 3 pages long. At the very bottom she wrote, "I think I destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me." I stared at the sentence for a while. Then I replied with exactly one line. "You traded certainty for attention. Those aren't the same thing." After that, I blocked her everywhere permanently. Charlotte changed my life fast. New city, new projects, better people around me. I moved into a high-rise overlooking downtown and buried myself in work for the first few months. Not to escape anything, just because momentum matters after a major decision. I stayed disciplined. Gym at 5:30, job site by 7, no drinking every night, no rebound relationship, no emotional speeches to strangers at bars. Meanwhile, the divorce moved quietly through the system. Gloria signed eventually. She tried delaying a few things early on, but once she realized I wasn't coming back, the fight disappeared from her side too. That told me everything. Some people don't fight because they love you. They fight because they think they still control access to you. About 8 months after I moved, I flew back to Chicago for a construction conference. Long day, panels, networking, steakhouse dinner with investors afterward. Later that night, while sitting alone at the hotel bar, I ran into Mark, someone from our old circle. During the conversation, Gloria eventually came up. Apparently, she had moved into a much smaller apartment downtown after the divorce finalized. She changed jobs twice in less than a year, dated a few different men. None of it lasted. Damien disappeared completely once things became real. What stood out most was hearing that she still talked about how fast I left. According to Mark, Gloria genuinely believed I was making an emotional statement, not a permanent decision. She thought eventually I would cool off, reach back out, or reconsider once enough time passed. But that was the difference between us. She thought stable meant weak. She thought calm meant passive. She never understood that the moment she asked for freedom to explore another man, the marriage changed permanently. Most people just refuse to admit it when it happens. I didn't. After the conversation ended, I sat there alone for a few minutes, thinking back to that restaurant night. The wine glasses, the rehearsed speech, the way Gloria expected emotion instead of action. And honestly, that was the biggest reason the marriage failed. She thought calm men don't leave, that disciplined men tolerate anything, that loyalty meant permanent access no matter what she did. She was wrong. A man can be patient without being passive. He can love deeply without accepting disrespect. And sometimes the strongest thing a man can do is leave cleanly the first time his value gets questioned. Gloria asked for space to explore another man. I gave her all the space in the world. Thank you for watching.